As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced most businesses and organizations to either cancel, postpone, or completely reimagine the events that they would normally hold throughout the year. Well, when a local charity in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia's main fundraising event of the year was in jeopardy, that's when 360 Collision Centers came to the rescue in a huge way.
The Crystal Gala Foundation, formed in 1999, is made up of a group of volunteers whose purpose is to promote breast cancer awareness and to raise funds for the purchase of equipment for the breast cancer clinics at the Abbotsford, Mission, and Chilliwack hospitals. Committee Chair Jerry Charles explains.
So in 1999, the Crystal Gala Foundation was born. We decided that we needed to have some equipment in Abbotsford, and Abbotsford Regional Hospital wasn't even born yet. We were still in our old hospital. We didn't have much support at that time, and our first piece of equipment was $40,000 for something called a breast transducer probe, and it was the size of the old dot matrix printer connector, if you remember, connected to a computer that was about half the size of a Volkswagen. So there's your story. That's how we began. We've started off small, and we've actually stayed quite small. Our committee is 12 women. We're all volunteers. We have no overhead. All of the funds that we raise go to the cause, and we're really proud of that. That's our unique selling proposition, is that whatever donations you give would go directly to buying equipment.
360 Collision Centre is located in Abbotsford, BC. In 2004, brothers Daryl and Rick Francoeur had a little side business going, working out of their home, doing hot rod and custom jobs. They were approached by a customer who suggested they open their own shop and do it full-time. Rick Francoeur told us what happened next.
Daryl and I, with little kids and big mortgages, kind of looked at each other and laughed and said, "That's crazy." 3 months later, we're probably working 18 hours a day. We looked at each other and said, well, we know we're at the age where maybe we should take a chance. And so, at that point, 360 was born, and we started as a hot rod shop. About 2 years later, things were going great. An insurance company came to us and said, would you consider doing insurance work? And Daryl and I hammered that deal out, and we agreed that if we were going to do that, we were going to do our best to be best in class. And so, long story short, here we are today with Canada's certainly largest, highest production custom shop, a best in class collision shop, and a very busy audio division that continuously grows. So we've been blessed through COVID. We've gotten busier, and so that's part of what we're here to talk about today, was us making sure that we give back for the people that give us so much.
Rick and his team at 360 Collision Centre became a new sponsor for the Crystal Gala Foundation 2 years ago. They did not just dip their toes in the water. They made a strong commitment right at the start.
I've heard about the Crystal Gala for, I've been in Abbotsford for, almost 20 years. So I knew of them. I knew that, it was sort of the top event of the year. But having, family members that have had breast cancer, a lot of our employees, wives had breast cancer, we decided that it was, we would take a crack at helping them out and doing everything we could do to give back.
So when 360 Fabrication came on as a brand new sponsor 2 years ago, and they came at the Crystal level, which is $10,000, they immediately committed to a legacy sponsorship of 10 years. So over 10 years, they plan to give us $100,000.
The Wings and Wheels event not only helped fill the gap caused by the cancellation of the Crystal Gala's main fundraising event, it actually boosted the foundation's profile and helped their message reach a broader audience than ever before. Committee member Laura Balance explains.
So I think from our point of view, as a charity that is very focused hyper-local, to have a year where we couldn't fulfill on promises that we had made to purchase some incredibly needed equipment in the fight against breast cancer here in the Fraser Valley was very daunting to not be able to fulfill the promises we had made and the goals we had set for ourselves as an organization. So to see local businesses that have supported us previously step up with such an innovative idea and the ability to engage people beyond our traditional donor base was incredibly inspiring, and it allowed us to get our message much further and wider than normally we would have. So the publicity and the energy and the excitement around the event ended up allowing us to spread our message not only for our organization but generally in the fight against breast cancer. We received coverage for the event and for our organization right across the country, and that was incredibly impactful in spreading the word about the need to continue, if you have the ability, to support local charities, and if that charity is one that assists in the fight against cancer, that's important to us. But it was a good reminder of the power of coming together in a way, coming together but apart at this time of such complexity and such unfortunate time across our country. To be able to remember charities and to be able to still raise money was very, very important.
In March, when most of us became aware and our world started to change, we realized that because so many small businesses in our community were hurting and would not have the typical year for giving, that we didn't feel comfortable going out to people to ask them to support our silent auction, our live auction, our sponsorships. It was going to be a different year. And we thought things would come together. We didn't know what that meant. And then suddenly we had this idea came forward from 360 Fabrication, 360 Group. And they said, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it in the summer. We're gonna have a drive-through car show. So they were able to do drive-through with no contact. It was just amazing to us that 360 came up with this concept. I think it was the first one that I'm aware of out here, and certainly of that magnitude. And in doing so, they managed to raise almost $60,000.
We had to make the fire department happy. We had to make the city happy. We had to make everybody happy. We had to make Fraser Health understand exactly what was involved in the event. We had WorkSafe involved because we had to make sure that there was no carbon monoxide problems inside the building. So there was a lot of stuff that went on to make sure that it was all safe for everybody. Moving the vehicles in, we limited the amount of people that were allowed to bring in, so it was a very long, drawn out bringing in of the vehicles because we couldn't let people get close to each other. We distanced the vehicles a certain width apart, which is as per Fraser Health wanted. And on the way out, it was blocks of vehicles that left, so that way there wasn't too many people in the building at the same time. And quite frankly, the aircraft in the building was very exciting. To have them come in as a bunch of car guys that would probably not spend much time around airplanes. It was pretty amazing.
It was just so much fun, and the first thing people said as soon as they were finished was, we've got to do this again next year. The people who didn't participate said, we want to do this. You're going to do it because we want to bring our whole car club next year. We had a pink tractor. We had airplanes. We had B trains. It was just amazing, the show that 360 put together.
It became a good news story about the resiliency of a relatively small organization and their ability to find a way forward through a local business that simply didn't accept no or not this year for their contribution.
This event was so successful and so popular that it is very likely that we'll see it become an annual event. A feel-good story among all of the uncertainty and fear associated with the COVID-19 pandemic.
there's another award. We're calling it the Outstanding Community Service Award. This new award honors someone who contributes significantly to industry and their community and serves as a role model for others to do the same. The winner of the Outstanding Community Service Award should be a leader, a compassionate service provider, and someone striving to make the world a better place. Every year, Crystal Gala, a foundation that raises money in the first fight against breast cancer, hosts an annual fundraising event. But due to COVID-19, they were forced to cancel this year, which meant a significant loss of funds. That's when Rick Francoeur and his team at 360 Fabrication stepped in. In a matter of 3 weeks, the team not only organized, but also covered all costs to put together a drive-through car show, which ended up being the largest in Canada in 2020 and garnered national media attention. Hundreds of people, including fire departments, the RCMP, paramedics, the Canadian military, and a number of local businesses submitted their vehicles, which filled both halls of the TradeX in Abbotsford. At the end of the two-day event, 260 Fabrication presented a check of $57,000 to Crystal Gala to help their cause. For this positive contribution to their community, this year's Outstanding Community Service Award goes to 360 Fabrication. They were a wonderful example of a local business who truly cares about their community, and for that, their leadership deserves recognition. This year, the board is pleased to award the Outstanding Community Service Award to Rick Francoeur of 360 Fabrication.
And unfortunately, we can't spotlight him because he's not here yet. So,
do you know if anybody here, or is anybody willing to step up and say they're close enough to him to accept on his behalf?
Send him a text message.
Well, let's see all those reactions by applause, though. At least have that. And unmute yourself and make a bunch of noise for Rick Francoeur.
anyway, Rick,
Way
well
to
done.
go. Awesome
Yeah.
job.
Woohoo! Yes.
Great job.
Fantastic, Rick.
Way to go, Rick.